I wish I knew the exact series. What I can remember and piece together from the story was we circled the back of Alberta Children's Hospital. There's a track and it faces west, so this beautiful view of the mountains. And we were walking and I just had this nudge and I go to my husband, I'm like, babe. He goes, what? I'm like, babe, let's just bring the joy. And he's like, are you a lunatic? Like, our kid's dying. There's nothing we can do. And he obviously goes, okay, how do you want to do that? Like, we're stuck in the hospital. There's no cure. We're not scientists. We're not medical professionals. Like, how are we going to bring the joy?
Hey everyone, Dr. Greg Wells here. Great to see you. And thank you so much for coming back to the podcast and joining me for this episode with the incredible Jessica Janzen. Now, every once in a while on the show, we get a chance to talk to some people who have deep lived experience. And that is exactly what Jessica brings to the show today. And the fact that she was able to overcome some incredible obstacles in her life and find joy and bring joy, I think is incredibly inspiring. And she tells us how to do that in our own lives in today's show. So allow me to introduce you to the incredible Jessica Janzen. She's a best-selling author, philanthropist, and self-described joy starter, whose entire work is about turning pain into rocket fuel and problems into possibilities. She's an advocate for mental health, rare diseases, and all things joy. She helps leaders, teams, and individuals navigate burnout and a problem-focused mindset and shift instead towards growth, success, and abundant joy. Jessica's story changed forever when she and her husband lost their son, Lewiston, to spinal muscular atrophy. In the midst of that grief, she made a decision. No other family would walk that road alone. She co-founded the Love for Lewiston Foundation, which has raised over $3 million to support families living with SMA and to fund critical care equipment and research. Her best-selling book, Bring the Joy, gives people practical tools to build resilience, protect their mental health, and pursue peak performance without losing their soul in the process. She's been recognized with the Doc Seaman Individual Philanthropist Award and the Katie Manders Courage to Inspire Award. In this conversation, she reminds us that joy is a practice that we can deliberately install in our lives. It's a discipline, it's a strategy, and it's a powerful way to live. I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk to Jessica Janzen and to bring this conversation to you here today. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's dive into it. Please enjoy my conversation with Jessica Janzen. Jessica Janzen, thank you so much for joining us. It's amazing to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here on this beautiful day.
And this beautiful, stormy, snowy, crappy day in Toronto. But I appreciate that you made the effort to be here. I know it's not easy given how busy you are. And also, I saw you speak recently and was so fired up by what you were able to share with the group and the response that I was like, we just got to come back. We got to talk joy.
I love joy. And I know when I met you, I was like, Greg, I need to be friends. Tell me everything. I want to learn more. I was like taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about these days? Like, how is joy playing out? I know that you have an unbelievable personal history around finding joy, which I think is, so powerful and meaningful. But I'd love to know what that means for you these days.
It's interesting. We were just reflecting right before we started recording on like what is coming up for you. And the thing that I mentioned is how shocked I am by how many people are lugging their suitcase of suffering around and not accessing joy. And joy is a choice. You see those all the time. Like you go into little shops and it's like, choose joy. And we were using AI to write some content as we do. And AI always offers me choose joy. And so I was working with my team and I said, whenever AI offers us choose joy, we change it. Because my whole philosophy is like, sometimes like it doesn't feel like you can just choose joy in your circumstances. Sometimes you have to be responsible to bring it. And that's why I wrote my book, Bring the Joy. It was like, man, I wouldn't choose these circumstances. This doesn't feel joyful. There doesn't seem to be any joy. So I'm just gonna be the one to bring the joy. Like that's our responsibility.
Are you comfortable sharing the story behind your first book?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's a memoir. And it started off as following the nudges of what led me to now being with my husband, Hot Ronnie, who if you've met him, seen him, he's hot, not handy. This incredible human who I thought was an asshole. And his story in itself is a book, which I was like, honey, you gotta write this story. But it was about me falling through on these nudges that were really uncomfortable for me because he was like the hot guy and I was like the nerdy girl. And I would go into meetings in our office because we worked together and be like, this is how it needs to be done. And he's like, you've never done this before. You just started. And I'm like, no, I'm smarter than you. Like, it was quite tumultuous.
Yeah.
But then in the process of writing the book, I quit my job, got pregnant with my daughter. 3 months later, after my daughter was born, 3 months later, I got pregnant with our son. And I had dream pregnancies for the most part. And when I had deliveries, I'd walk in the hospital, like, I'm gonna deliver. I'm like, here's the plan, 3 pushes, baby comes out. I head home, watch playoff hockey, sit on a padsicle, Bob's your uncle. Like, I mean, good labors. And I had no idea that anything was wrong with our second child. And I had finished fundraising for a family locally in our city. They had 2 kids with a rare genetic disease called spinal muscular atrophy. I'd been helping, caring for, working for, loving on this family for 9 years. And my own son, after a myriad of tests, like CTs, MRIs, EKGs, ABCs, XYZs, pokes, prods, he gets a diagnosis, and the diagnosis is spinal muscular atrophy. And when they shared the news, I was like, felt oddly equipped for it, because I was like, okay, like, I know the kids, I know the SMA, we just did a fundraiser for this accessible van. And what I wasn't prepared was the doctor said, we're really sorry. The pediatric neurologist walks in and she goes, I'm really sorry, very serious. And she'd been serious the whole time. But she goes, I'm really sorry. Your son has a rare genetic disease, spinal muscular atrophy. I'm like, okay, And I'm TikToking going like, okay, handicap van, we've already done a fundraiser. I'm like, will you get the blue handicap? Am I prime parking? we live in a bungalow, but we'll maybe need a ramp when the kid's in a wheelchair. Like, I'm going through the checklist. I'm going, oh yeah, fast pass at Disney. Like, this is beautiful. Like, there's all the perks. And she can tell, like, I'm not computing the severity of it. Like, no, I'm just processing. Yeah. And then she goes, I'm really sorry. There's no cure, there's no treatment. And because your son's diagnosed so early and it's so severe, he won't make his first birthday. And our role is just to keep him comfortable until he passes. We can't do anything other than that. And so, like, I mean, it just breaks you as a parent, breaks you as a human. And like, I'm somebody that finds a solution. Like, you want a solution for precious diamond company, for an oil and gas, I'll come in because I'm so creative. That's like my superpower. But in this, like, you're just like, there's no solution. There's no like solve. There's no way out. And it broke us. And it was a nudge that I had when my husband and I got out of the room after being in the fetal position, crying your face off. Yeah. And the nudge was, we're just going to bring the joy. And that nudge changed our whole world. And I shared it publicly on social media, and our account started to grow, and people from all over started to tune in. And this was before stories, and this was at the early onset of Instagram. And I just said, like, I really hope that they're wrong. I'm going to pray for a miracle. I'm a person of faith. And I was like, God, now would be a great time to show up and do one of those like walk on water moments. Yeah. And we're just going to bring the joy. And it started with a dance party. And so my book, Bring the Joy, is a memoir of what it looks like when you don't choose your circumstances or it doesn't go as planned, how you can bring the joy. And a lot of that is following through on the nudges that you get. And then the beautiful things that happen after the nudges.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. I know it's not easy to make your way through that. So you're super courageous and brave and awesome. If you don't mind sharing the nudge, I'd like to know just a little bit about, like, how did you go from the fetal position crying to organizing a dance party?
I wish I mean, I think part of it is like, it was big T trauma, like, because I was like, I don't have trauma. My therapist was like, oh, you've watched your child die. Like, you have been through trauma. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I wish I knew the exact series. What I can remember and piece together from the story was we circled the back of Alberta Children's Hospital. There's a track and it faces west, so this beautiful view of the mountains. And we were walking and I just had this nudge and I go to my husband, I'm like, babe. He goes, what? I'm like, babe, let's just bring the joy. And he's like, are you a lunatic? Like, our kid's dying. There's nothing we can do. And he obviously goes, okay, how do you want to do that? Like, we're stuck in the hospital. There's no cure. We're not scientists. We're not medical professionals. Like, how are we going to bring the joy? And in true Jessica Janzen style, I was like, I actually have no idea, but I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think it was the next day or the day after, one of my best friends came into the room and she brought a Bluetooth speaker and we had 2 toddlers. And if you've watched toddlers dance, they're hilarious. It's like kind of like a drunk Ellen on Seinfeld.
Or Greg Wells dancing.
Yeah, right?
You might, yes, around.
Yes. Which now I can't wait for this. I'm like going to find a reason for us to have a dance party. But it was like simply bopping with toddlers. And then it was like, oh gosh, this feels good. This feels good. And I remember being with Lewiston, and he was super limp. When you live with spinal muscular atrophy, you lose the ability. You're missing a gene that reproduces nerves. Nerves are what talk to your muscles. If your muscles aren't moving, they're atrophying. This is your reminder, whatever camera you're looking at, to go move your body. If you're in a position that you can.
Right.
Like my kid would have given anything to move and couldn't. And most of us who have the ability to move waste it. But in that moment, I just started moving his legs and his arms like a little physio. And we're like, oh, this feels good. And we chose a song, Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling. And it was like in that moment, this is how we bring the joy. You don't choose joy. It's like, oh, hey, your kid's dying. Not like, I'm going to choose joy and it's great. It was like, whoa, okay, radical acceptance of your circumstances. Like you can't be in denial. Okay, radically accept this is what we're faced with. And then it wasn't choose joy. It was like, man, we had an option here. Do you want to do what the world tells you to do? Like grieving, sad, sorrow, anguish, which we had all those feelings. Or do you want to move into, okay, like we can be sad, we can have anguish, we can have sorrow, we can have anger, resentment, frustration, all of it. But we also can have pockets of joy, and it's going to be my responsibility to bring it. I'll share this because I think somebody said this to me and it really clicked for me. You walk into a friend's house, like you're going there for dinner, you and your wife, haven't seen them for a while. And when you open up the door and you can feel the energy exchange, like they just had like a domestic, like just the husband and wife epic, and they're just, and then you're like, great to see you, Greg. So nice, you've been good. Like the energy, and you can feel tension. You can feel when you walk into a room. And for me, it was like, man, I'm not going to respond to the temperature in the room. I'm going to be the one that sets the temperature in the room. And it's not going to be depressive. It's not going to be like this horrible thing. I'm like, I want people to walk in and feel joy. Because if this is the only time we get with my son, I don't want it to suck the entire time.
Right.
So that for me was the shift, is like, we're going to change the energy and we're going to set the tone for what it looks like.
I love that. And I love the fact that it's not choosing joy, it's bringing joy.
Yeah. There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference there I've never even considered up until this instant.
Unlock, right?
Yeah. Talk to me about how we can bring joy and go from the moment of radical acceptance, which you talked about. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. It's out of our control. We are where we are. The past is the past. The future doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I've actually used that term radical acceptance before. I learned it from a yogi in India. So it's like not, like this is powerful stuff. It's universal human truth. Radical acceptance, radical meaning complete and thorough. And then you get into this zone where, okay, you're accepting your situation, and I am deliberately and intentionally bringing positivity into this moment that I am in right now, and thereby positively impacting the people around me. That's wild. This is your practice.
It changed my whole life. Like in that moment, I was like, man, we're in the darkness of dark. Like I wouldn't wish this on any parent, because you're like, every moment you're like, oh God, is this gonna be your last breath?
Yeah.
Oh God, he's had a rough night. And you're just like, am I being a good enough parent? And I'm paying enough attention? I felt guilty going down to the cafeteria. I was like, I can't leave you. And then you finally are like, man, you can't stare at him 24/7. Like I had to get sleep. Yeah. And it was so hard. But I just was like, man, if this is it, I don't want it to be so dark and so heavy that that's all he feels.
Right.
I think as parents, like we want those grandiose moments for our kids. That's the greatest joy in me being a parent, is watching them experience those moments of joy and goodness and like adventure. And so I was just like, this is my responsibility.
I love the idea of responsibility as well, right? You have this ability to respond and leveraging that to create a situation that's actually positive in the midst of some darkness is really, really cool. It's like response-ability, not...
I know, I'm going to take that, add that to my keynote.
Add that to the keynote.
I'll add that. Thank you, Dr. Greg Wells, adding that for the next clients.
It's not my idea. That was, again, the yogi in England.
Okay, yogi. To yogi in
to
somewhere.
Yoga in Chennai. Anyway, you talk also in your writing your next book about the hard work of joy, which I'm now beginning to understand. Like when you're bringing joy, it's not just something that you, hey, yay, choose, yeah, it's everything's
Buy
fine.
the sign at the shop down the road and stick it in your kitchen.
Put it on the bumper sticker,
Yeah,
right?
do you know what I mean?
Totally. And this is the hard work. It's a practice.
Yes.
Actually, it's deliberate and intentional.
Yes.
It takes energy.
Yes.
But it works.
Yes. My life, I just was on a trip in London, England, and I was staying, our best friends moved there. So sad, like best friend and best friend. Our daughters are best friends. They've been best friends for since they were born. They moved there 4 years ago. We finally make this trip happen. And so we're in London, and I'm like, hello, nice to see you. And my girlfriend's like, Jess, she's like, you're like a lot for London. And she goes like, your energy is like a 10 out of 10, and the London energy is more like a 2 out of 10. She's like, there's just lots happening, and people kind of keep to themselves. And I was like, good morning, how's it going? You look great, love your coat.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny but for me, I don't want to live at a 2 out of 10. I want to live at a 10 out of 10. And I want to be clear, it's not always up here. This is hard work. This is a practice. This is habits. But it's just like the intentional choice of how you show up and what it looks like. And when I unlock that, gosh, it just feels so much better.
That's so cool. All right, let's just take a little bit of a break. Let's breathe for a moment so that we can integrate all of this incredible science. And at this point, I'd love for you to share the episode with someone that you know. When you share this information, we all improve. We build a community together where we make the world a better place. So take a moment, pause, breathe, think through what we're learning, and share this with someone who could really benefit from learning this information. So walk me through the steps of crafting joy. And we talked about mind, body, emotion, spirit. Let's begin with the brain. Talk to me about the brain and how we can help ourselves feel more joyful and practice joy and bring the joy and everything about how the brain works under those circumstances.
Talk about the brain. So let's be clear. I didn't do any of my sciences in high school, didn't pass, and my science teachers were like, drama's more of the root for you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I won't take any science classes. So I wish though, now what I understood, I applied it in high school. So I want to just level set, not a doctor, not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. But because I've gotten so curious in this, I've done a lot of my own research. So this is what I've consumed, and I try to make it consumable for other people that would maybe not be the neuroscientist or super smart. I struggled with mental health. I have my whole life. I didn't have big trauma in my life, or really what I would call even little trauma. I grew up with two loving parents. I had both of my grandparents. We'd all get together on Christmas Day, and it would be loving and wonderful. And my grandpa would read out of the Bible, and we'd sing hymns, and we went to church, and it was pretty like a silver platter. Now, not without its hardships in different ways, but two brothers, we all liked each other, so good. And so when I struggled with mental health, it made me even more frustrated, because it's well, there's nothing wrong. You don't have anything wrong. And then you start to look at genetics, and then you start to look at brain health. And so I attempted suicide in grade 11, and the thoughts in my head were suicidal ideations, and it was, a moment where I just was the world would be better if I wasn't here. That's what my brain fed me. And I listened to it. I hooked onto it. I found the evidence that I didn't belong and fit in. And it took me until my late 30s and losing Lewiston to really understand taking care of my body. I would work out and I'd eat the kale salad, but knowing now what I know has totally shifted the practice, which I think makes it so much easier for me to be a person that brings the joy. So when I think about mental health, I specifically think about brain health. And the work that I love following, Dr. Caroline Leaf and Dr. Daniel Amen, two people that make it very consumable. They're trending on social, so I'm sure you'll find them, and it's consumable, bite size. He wrote a book called Change Your Brain Every Day, and you read a page a day, and it's got a simple question, but just how to help your brain be healthy. Because a healthy brain can then decipher, oh, is this a healthy thought, or is this bullshit from the pit of hell? Your brain offers you both thoughts. You can't stop the thoughts from coming. But if I have a really dark thought, my brain's healthy enough in a position now to be no, that's a lie. Here's all the evidence. And so when I think about brain health, when I think about these moments, a big part for me is what am I consuming? And I wish you could say, wow, she doesn't have anything bad. Like I'll have a can of pop, or, I like to eat, Smart Sweets and all of these other fun desserts, but I'm so conscious now of how I fuel my body, because my brain accesses 25 to 30% of what I consume as my fuel. So when I think about like, well, what quality of fuel are you putting into your body? And I push my body hard. Like not a lot of people can keep up with my schedule, and they don't have to. I've chosen this. This is what I like. I feel like I'm in a season where I can. And not to say I don't crash, but like I have to be a well-oiled, well-taken care of vessel to do what I do. And so I really look at how can I take care of my brain health. And that's a lot about what you consume. It's what you listen to. Like I talk about curated consumption. Like what are you watching? Like you see people spiraling. Well, it's like, well, when you're watching Fox News all night long and seeing story after story after story, and some people would call me ignorant, but I don't consume a lot of the news because it just feels so negative and so depressing. And so I know from my mental state, it's not healthy for me to do that. I also consume things that inspire me, things that like, oh man, that makes it possible, or like, look at that good news story, or look at community come together. And so like how you consume food, what you listen to, what you see, and then environment, the people that you're hanging out with, the things that they're saying. We work out on Fridays. There's a super cool group of us. Anyone's welcome. So if you're ever in Calgary,
Nice.
It's like, as long as you get into class, like you have a seat at the table. And even if you miss class, you can come join us and we have coffee afterwards. And one girl joined us and she just was like carrying the suitcase of suffering, victim mentality. And I wanted to punch her in the fucking face, because I was like, man, there is a mom that's sitting in the hospital watching her kid take every breath, being like, is this it? And will give everything to be in your position to have your problems. And I'm not discounting the problems, because I still can get overwhelmed or, anxious or frustrated. But I think it's like this perspective shift about like who you're with and what they talk about and how you show up for each other. I just stopped being in conversations where people talk shit and are in bad energy. I was
100%.
like, circle it up, out we go. I don't want to have that. And it makes a difference on how you then fuel your own body and soul.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's like the delete block policy on social. Like if I see a comment I don't like, delete and block.
Yeah.
Delete the comment, block the person.
Yeah.
Don't need it, don't have time for it.
I'm not going to engage,
Right.
expend any
Why
unnecessary.
would you? Because you're not convincing them of anything.
Exactly.
And watching the news is a zero-sum game. Like, of course, you need to be generally aware of what's sort of happening in the world. But doom scrolling through the updates on everything that's happening right now in the world, when you can actually make a difference by doing something positive, that you bring that back under control rather than just passively consuming content that's designed to make you scared and upset and angry. So I love all of that. You continuously reference exercise and nutrition. Mm-hmm. So isn't it curious that we're talking about joy and crafting joy and bringing joy and fueling joy, and we land on the basics of mindset, exercise, nutrition?
Amen. It's crazy if you let it access, and it doesn't have to be the hardest workout. Like it's like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and walk.
Right.
I'm gonna lift some weights. I'm gonna have a dance party in my kitchen. Like small things, but I think I overcomplicated it. Or if I wasn't consistent in it, then I was like, well, quit. Not consistent.
Right.
Which I think so many people do, and you get frustrated. And I'm like, oh man, we've had an insane week. We haven't worked out once because we've been in 5 different time zones, and our bodies are pushing the limits because of the travel schedule. I don't then quit working out. I'm like, oh, I probably should do this because I know I'm going to derail here really soon if I don't get back on.
How do you give yourself permission to get back on? Like you're super busy, which is a great analogy.
I don't say busy also.
Fair enough.
I hate busy. I'm full because I'm
Right.
intentional with my schedule.
Yes, you're deliberately and intentionally positively making a difference in the world. Therefore, you are doing lots of different things.
I have a very full schedule.
In lots of different cities and lots of different times on various different airplanes,
Yes.
which is a way, way, way better phrasing it. Thank you for that course correction on my language. That is a good analogy for how people feel driving their kids all over the place. Also not getting fired, getting everything done at work, taking care of the house, all those sorts of, like we are
Stacked.
full
Yeah.
up. And in that environment where it can feel draining, you're talking about fueling and bringing positivity into that type of a space. So for people who are feeling overwhelmed right now, for people who are listening, like, great, Greg, but like, oh, I'm in my car and I'm now a formal limo driver for my 3 teenagers who play sports, which is awesome, but I'm spending all my time in my car in traffic. Like, what do we do under those sorts of circumstances? How do we bring it in those types of moments or situations?
Powerful thoughts lead to powerful actions.
Talk to me about that, because that's awesome.
Powerful thoughts lead to powerful actions. A powerful thought while I'm in the car with my kids is not, oh God, I have so much to do and my to-do list, and oh my gosh, I haven't sent those emails, and fuck, and then my kids are trying to talk to me and I'm like, God!
Right.
I've had to shift, and I have to work on this because my brain is like, you should be doing more, you're wasting time in traffic, and like it's offering me all the things like, have you seen the to-do list? You missed all these things. You're not the most involved parent. You could be doing more. You didn't respond to the hockey email. Have you checked the apps? Like, you haven't noticed I have ADHD, and so my brain
So do I too, so I'm like joining you.
I know,
This is
we're
so
like,
fun.
but like now for me, I'm like, powerful thought. Man, what a great time it is to get with my kids. What can I do that's intentional so I'm not, because what happens is we're spewing on other shit, then we're not present in the moment that we're in, and then we're mad at ourselves because we're spewing on other shit, then we miss it on the opportunity to be in the moment that we were in, and then we're mad about that, which then leads and bleeds into the next thing. So for me, it's like powerful thoughts lead to powerful actions, and a really quick reframe for me, if I start to spiral down like the toilet of just like, my life sucks, I can't keep up, this is too much, we're never gonna get ahead, is this a powerful thought, and does it serve me? And that came from one of my really good friends, Heather Boersma. She does a lot of work on rest. She's absolutely brilliant, life coach, business coach, wrote a book called The Rest Revolution. But she's a cousin, she's also one of my nearest and dearest friends, but she was like, is this a powerful thought, and does it serve you?
Interesting. So is this a powerful thought, and is this serving me? It's a great pause question.
Yes.
Which drives then carrying on with the thought.
Yeah.
Or punting it.
Yes.
Cool.
And when I'm on stage, I do this thing where it's like, okay, we have a thought. We have 60,000 thoughts, study out of Stanford. That's like the data that I have in my keynote. 80 to 90% of those are repetitive. I mean, the thought of like, what are we having for dinner? Which is a marriage killer right there. If you can solve that in your week, you can already access more joy, literally.
Okay.
Like meal plan, and you will already see a 15% joy increase in your life.
Nice.
I swear. But you have a thought, 60,000 of a day. And then what your brain does next using the reticular activating system, and if I'm incorrect in any of this, feel free to correct me, but this is research I've done. Then it looks for evidence about what you're thinking, is it true or not? Because your brain doesn't really know the difference between a thought and what's real in real life. Like then you're choosing to go, okay, well, is this true? So you have the thought, you look for the evidence. And if your brain is healthy, it can access the correct evidence. If your brain is in a position where it's not depleted, it's not depressed, it's not exhausted, it's not on freaking empty, then you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or like, oh my gosh, the evidence, my kid is here, breathing, healthy. Gosh, there is a mom in the hospital that would give anything for this Uber moment. Yeah. And to be back and forth. On Saturday, I drove in our vehicle for 5.5 hours. And my one thought was like, gosh, this is such a waste of time. Like I could be doing so many more things on my to-do list. I have stuff to get ready for Christmas. I have to organize. And I was like, no, I'm so grateful I get to do this. And I can afford the gas. And I've got a vehicle that has CarPlay. We have one vehicle that has a tape deck in it. And I was like, I get to drive the nice car today. Oh. Like it was just like looking for the evidence. And because you have evidence, you can access belief. And belief is what will fuel powerful action, powerful steps, a little bit more peace in your life because you believe the thing that you're thinking, and then your brain hooks on is like, oh yeah. You know the guy, Charlie, I don't know, he blew up on social media and he did this experiment and now he's like millions of followers and a billionaire or something. And he shifted his whole life around by saying good things are happening to me.
Interesting.
Because his brain was looking for the evidence of the good rather than looking for the evidence of the shitstorm that's right in front of you.
Yeah, while you're speaking, I'm thinking back to last weekend and I'm driving in traffic. I live in Toronto. Traffic's insane with my 15-year-old. Yep. And it took way too long. And it was very easy for me to get frustrated and a little bit disappointed with my situation at that time. But then I was like, Ingrid asked me a question. I was like, my 15-year-old daughter just asked me a question. What a gift, what an opportunity, what an absolutely magic moment. And I guarantee 10 years from now, I'm going to be thinking back to this, being like, oh yeah, no, remember when we used to drive and we used to talk about stuff?
Can I ask what the question was?
It was pretty involved. Okay. But
I'm
a physiologist. We've been talking about anatomy since she was 7. Yes. It was like a pretty significant anatomical, physiological question about
But something stuff you'll remember for the rest of your life.
100%.
And you probably wouldn't have had that moment if you zipped to the location and said, okay, get out.
Or if I was projecting the energy of like traffic rage.
I can't believe I have to drive you again.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare.
Yeah. So that's really, really cool. I appreciate that. It's a reminder I need to lean into over and over and over again. You mentioned belief. I unfortunately have not received the gift of faith yet in my life, so I'm curious about it. You're like,
I was like, tell me more. I was like, I want to know.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
like,
curious when you talk about.
let me interview you now, Greg.
No, please no.
Avoid at all costs.
That's an emotion. Bury it. You talk about mind, body, emotion, and spirit. And so I am curious about the spiritual element of joy for you and how that plays out. For me, I frame spirituality as like community, connection, love, friends, family. That's it for me. I know that that's not necessarily the way that everyone thinks about it, nor should they. But if you have that aspect of your life, which I'm sure is powerfully beneficial for you. But I'm curious about how that plays out when it comes to joy as well.
I always tell people, I'm like, man, have a kid die, and you're going to want to hope that you had a hope in heaven.
Right.
And like I said, my faith was handed to me on a silver platter. I came from a family of Mennonites, not like hardcore, like we had a TV, but like when I grew up, there was no drinking. Like we were kind of like pretty, a glass of wine. And they started to loosen and relax as I got into my early 20s. And my parents, they made faith so approachable. They didn't ever force it on us. But it was like, hey, you want me to buy you, when we got older, you want to get your lunch bought for you, show up at church, and if you show up at church, I'll buy you lunch. And it was never forced on us, but just a way that we came together. And when Lewiston passed, we joined a grief group, and it's a group that you would never want to be a part of. Like there was 12 different families in there, and it was like cancer, kid got ran over, kid had a fall, horrific stories. Some kid died in a piece of exercise equipment. I'm just like, holy, like you want to talk about heavy. And I was in a moment where some of the families, as we were struggling and sharing our stories, where they didn't know what had happened to their child after that moment of death. Were they in pain? Were they still suffering? Were they still harmed? And I look at my faith, which is love God, love other people. I'm not a perfect Christian, so if you're looking for an example of that, keep on looking, because the buck stops here with that one.
Yeah.
And I swear a lot, like way too much. My grandmother would roll over in her grave. Jessica.
Apparently it makes you live longer, so that's okay.
I know, so I always send my mom those memes. It's like, Mom, this doesn't make me a bad person. It's going to help me live longer. And it's love God, love other people. And the thing that I love about a relationship with God is it's not earned. It's not how good you are. You can be a complete mess. And he says, I love you and see you just as you are. You're saved by grace, which means unmerited, undeserving favor. Whoa.
Cool. I've thought a lot about unconditional love, unconditional support, which is basically, I think, maybe an extension of that.
Totally. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get there someday. We'll have to talk. Let's say someone's listening and they would like to take a step in the direction of joy. How do we get started with this?
Group fitness.
All right.
Yes. Honestly, go to a group fitness class.
Like dance, spin class,
anything,
whatever.
A weight class, F45, do a Orange Theory, freaking P-Volve, there's FS8, you name it. If you're in a city, there is something going on, join a run club. I have a hip of a 90-year-old, so running's hard for me, but go where people are physically taking care of themselves, because most likely they're also mentally taking care of themselves. And you're hanging out with people who aren't going to be in a deficit. These are people that are like, oh, I'm plugging in my batteries. Oh, I'm refueling. Think about your body as I think about my brain and my body as a fuel tank. And I'm like, how do I get this so I'm at peak performance? I want to be an F1 winning the frickin' race.
Yeah.
My pit crew, we got to be a well-oiled machine. And when you hang out with other people, they're most likely doing the same thing.
Right.
And then so you elevate. And I'd also say you might have to let go of some of the bad relationships and the things, but start with a group fitness class. And you can't hang out in the back and being like, oh, this is stupid.
I hang out in the back corner of the yoga class. I'm gonna move closer to the front.
And you know what else you're gonna do?
Oh my God.
I know, it's so uncomfortable. Ugh, people, sweaty, gross. And then you're gonna be like, great to see you.
Totally.
Or high five.
Yeah.
Great work.
Oh
High
my
five.
God.
Great workout. That's all you have to do.
Right.
I just wonder, do that next
Yeah.
week, and I want you to text me and tell me how it changes things.
All right.
It's so simple. And the other thing I tell people is, okay, fine, you're like scared, you're whatever, you in your own pity party. You can't serve other people well if you're not well. But there's something when I go, and trust me, like I'm like in a good season right now. So I'm like, joy is awesome. I take care of my body. I have my green juice. I got my workout in this morning. But in July, I was circling the frickin' toilet. I was like, the world's a dumpster fire. Joy is bullshit. I hate it. It's stupid. It's for nobody. I quit my keynote. I'm the worst speaker. There's no success. I don't even know why. Like I went dark.
Yeah.
And my husband's like offering, he's like, maybe you should do some of the things you say in your keynote. I was like, don't you tell me what to do.
Does that to me as well. So does my 15-year-old, she's like, didn't you write a book on that? It's like,
that's gotta sting. Like,
Yeah.
right, like, but the thing that, I'm like, where did I go with this? Oh, this is the ADHD.
Yeah.
Go serve somebody. Go make it not about yourself. I'm just gonna show up, and true service means like, true giving means I'm going to give with zero expectations.
Right.
I'm not giving because it's going to make me feel better.
Totally.
I'm not giving because I'm like, hey, everybody, look I'm generous and we're helping. Yeah. No. It's like, just go give, no expectations, walk away, and you might never know the impact of it.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's really, really cool. So like you're giving with no expectations, no judgment, nothing. You're just simply serving other people. Ian Lopatin, who started a company called Spiritual Gangster, I was with him last week. Buddy of mine, we'll introduce you.
I'm like, write this down.
He frames it as help other people get what you want. And that's the easiest to unlock. We're making notes. We're learning on the go.
I know. I'm like,
right?
Add this to the keynote. This is so good.
What's up for you right now? Like, let's talk about you, and then we'll wrap things up because I know you have to get to your next event. But let's talk sort of granularly about how are you operationalizing this in your life? What's a practice that people can install that might help make this real on a daily basis?
Start complimenting people.
So cool.
And what I mean by that is, and I'll share this story because this, like I've had these reminders all the time, but this one was a really big one where I was like, oof, this is like what you need to keep doing. So I wrote a book on nudges. So now every time I get a nudge, I have to follow through on it. And it is so uncomfortable.
Right.
Because some of them are weird.
Yeah.
Like I did tell this guy in Starbucks who's like a good looking guy. I was like, I have this nudge. And I just have to tell you that the thing that you're working on matters and you're not supposed to quit. I was like, and just so you know, I'm happily married. I'm not flirting with you. I grabbed my coffee and I ran out of the Starbucks. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so awkward. And I don't know if I'll ever know or I'll ever see him again or ever know the impact. But I'm like, dude, you wrote the book on the nudge. You have to follow through.
Right.
So coffee group, we work out Friday mornings, 9:30. It's amazing. We lift heavy weights. We have a dance party, great instructor. Shout out to Mara and the team at church. And then whoever wants to can come for a cup of coffee. And around the coffee, rather than having small bullshit conversation that's pointless, I ask one question that everyone around the table has to answer, and we all have to listen to what that is. And sometimes they're light and fluffy, like if you were to commit a crime, who would you bring with you to commit a crime? Like sometimes they're fun like that. And sometimes they're like, if you have to let go of one thing right now so you can finish the year better, what are you letting go of? And then you can hold people accountable. So we have this intimate conversation. So my husband's in the restaurant industry. We're having coffee at DeVille, one of the new coffee shops we opened up. And I'm going up to the counter to go buy a cup of coffee because I can, and I love that way I can serve. And I got this nudge that the guy I'm standing this way and the till is right in front of me, and he's kind of like looking at me at this nudge. And I was like, sir, I just want to tell you, you look so handsome in those glasses. Like, you look so good in them. I absolutely love them. And kind of like, what? Thank you. I was like, yeah, no problem. Walk on, carry on, do my day. Later that night, Sue, one of the girlfriends in our group, texts me and she goes, did you compliment a guy on his glasses today at coffee? And I was like, yeah, why? Like, that's so random. 10:30 Friday night. This is the text I get from Sue and I'm reading it. And she goes, I just saw this on an app. It's called the Neighbor app or something. And she goes, the thing that she screenshotted says, to the young lady, which I was like, thank you, my Botox is working. To the young lady at DeVille Crowfoot, thank you for complimenting my husband on his glasses. He's undergoing cancer treatment. And he's struggling with his appearance.
Holy shit.
And you shifted his whole mood for the rest of the day. And Sue's like, Sue knew it would be me because I just run my mouth. I'm complimenting strangers on the street. Sue knew it would be me. I was like, holy shit. So of course, what does Sue and I do? Because Susan and I are like helpers. We're like, we need to put a care package together. Let's go serve the man. He's in this difficult situation. And our whole like coffee, church, workout group comes together, put together a care package. We sign a card. I give him a copy of my book, Bring the Joy. I'm like, Cal, you got this. I then get an email about a week or two later from this girl that I randomly got introduced to because both of her kids are celiac and she wrote a book on kids with allergies. Her name's Jessica as well. I get this email from Jessica. She goes, hey, did you get my package? I'm like, no, sorry, I haven't been home. There's a stack of boxes on my desk. I'll look. She goes, also, did you write a message to Cal? Because that's my uncle and it looks like your book. A girl I've never met, lives in a different province, then hears about the story and Cal's telling his friends and she's like, you have no idea how much you impacted my uncle. Like, and the story just keeps snowballing insane. Cal came to coffee with us last Friday and I took a picture. I'm gonna show you how cute he is. Like, what? All because I said, you look great in your glasses, which was the truth.
Yeah.
I was like, the guy looked so, like clear glasses, like good, solid. And I'm like, I'm never trying to get anything out of it. I have no stakes in like where the compliment goes. But I just know if I have it, I have to follow through on it. And I do look like the wackadoodle in the airport that like I've been accused of being drunk. They almost didn't let me on a flight. And I was like, I'll do a breathalyzer. This is just my natural demeanor. But I'm like, man, imagine if you just paid a few people a compliment and like how it would like lift their shoulders or lighten their load. And that's free. And it doesn't cost you anything other than maybe an awkward moment that you're just wrestling with in your brain.
I think that's a great place to stop because it's an action item that every single person listening can do. Just like give someone an unexpected, specific compliment.
With no expectation.
With no expectations and no judgment whatsoever. What a great place to land. Jessica Janzen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Go bring the joy!
Woohoo! Let's do it. Hey everyone, I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Jessica Janzen. She is just a bundle of energy and just such an incredible inspiration. I loved talking to her about the shared experience that she's had, not just going through the challenges that she's had in her life, but the amazing shared experiences that she has had with other people that she has positively impacted. So I hope that that episode was helpful for you, and that was going to just build upon that positivity that we're flowing out into the world. If the episode was helpful, please share it with someone that you love, someone that you were thinking about. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. Ping me on social at Dr. Greg Wells. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you thought. And definitely give yourself a little round of applause for still being here, for listening, for being so committed to personal development and growth and learning. Because my gosh, it's not easy right now. And the fact that you're investing your time, effort, energy, and attention to doing that is amazing. So keep it up. You're awesome. And we'll see you in the next session. All right, everyone, hope you enjoyed that session. This is a little note from the lawyers. This podcast and video contains advice and information relating to health and wellness and is presented solely for general information, educational, and entertainment purposes. We've made enormous efforts to make sure that the information is accurate and that what we've contained in this episode is based on science and research. However, it should still only be used as a supplement rather than to replace the advice of your doctor or other qualified healthcare professional. If you know or suspect that you have a health problem, it's recommended that you seek your qualified healthcare professional's advice before embarking on any program, treatment, or protocol. All right, thanks for listening in. Really appreciate you. We'll see you in the next video, session, or podcast.